Hey everybody, it's Ask Eve. Guess what? I plan on setting the SoFlo film market on fire today with my guest who starred in movies such as Amaranza and Bonk and Robin's Glove. And she's also a film producer and a casting director for Ask Media. Hey Adam. I'd like to introduce you to the magnificent Diana S. Rice. Diana, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Eve, for having me. I'm so excited. I get excited when I'm able to help others, I guess because I'm a former mental health counselor, and that's how I get high, I guess.
Yeah, we've got a lot to cover today, but tell me, what are some of the productions that you're currently working on?
Well, right now, I just started with Ask Media Productions as their creative producer and their casting director. And
Nice.
I'm also independently contracted through Palm Beach Atlantic University Films. So I'm also the casting director for their student films.
Wow.
I also have my own faith-based production company called Rahab Productions with my business partner, Alicia Carreno, who's also known as Aya, the singer.
Aya.
So, yeah, so I have quite a few things that and one more. I'm with Tally Mark Productions, who's Talia Shazano, who just does promo videos for anything to do with the ocean or beachy or anything with nature and stuff. So I help produce those things too.
Now, was that the video? I think I commented on it. We'll put the link up for you guys.
Okay.
The one that you had just recently posted, it was absolutely stunning, that piece.
Thank you. Yeah, she's such a gifted director, DP, editor. And it was for Mora Surf Boutique in Deerfield Beach. And
Nice.
we did 3 promo videos for them. And it tells a story in all 3, from the sunrise all the way to the sunset.
Storytelling marketing is where it's at today.
Yeah.
It's a big, big market. And so for talent that's out there, I know that a lot of people are interested in doing a television series, or they're interested in being in film and on the big screen. But, the market right now is in a very interesting place because advertising, which is more my background,
Right.
advertising in film is going down, unfortunately. You should still submit directly to advertising agencies, which is how Diana and I actually but the big deal is we live in this thing, and so this thing, all the videos that I'm shooting right now, by the way, are being done with myself.
Wow. Yeah.
So there was an exercise when we just shot. We did everything completely with mobile, and I mean these phones are incredible. So my point is start creating your own stuff. I mean it is an art form, and you can do so much with just so little today.
Well, and that's how it started with Bonk, and I guess I'm a go-getter. I'm a steamroller, and I've learned a lot of hard lessons though in this industry. I've only been in it for 3 years, and I cannot believe where I'm at right now and how it happens. But I'm also strong in my faith, and you know that, Eve.
Yep.
I was called into this industry. I was a mental health counselor with at-risk teens in Broward County, and my son had an accident, and after his accident I had to homeschool him, and I was about to go back into being a counselor. A girlfriend who's a producer of my from middle school. I went to middle school and high school with her. She's like, let me take pictures of you and send them out to agencies and see what happens. And then I got bit. I went on set for the first time for I Pick Movie Theater. That commercial's still running.
Right.
And after that, I found home. I don't know how else to explain it. All the poetry I've written in the last 25 years, my personality, everything just came together finally, and I felt like this is it. I'm an artist, and I had no idea that I was an artist. I was it's crazy, but now it's coming to fruition, and I want to help everyone along with me. It's not about me, to be honest. It's not about me. It's about glorifying God with my talent, and helping produce positive art around this, because we have so much negativity. I mean, you see it. Turn on the news, turn on the radio, I mean, you could feel it. And I guess as a therapist, I felt that for so long because that's what I did. I was trying to help teenagers to just realize that they're not stuck in their label, you know? And that's what helps me be a really great casting director is because I know how to read people. I was trained to that. I mean, I spent $30,000 on a degree that's sitting pretty on my but as my husband says anyway.
Well, let's touch base on that for a minute because you bring up a good point. Actors are psychologists. You are studying and replicating life. And you have to be able to connect with other people. I mean, you know, in a good scene, you've always got a conflict and somebody needs to win. You have a protagonist and an antagonist. And
right.
You know, there's so much that you can be studying in true life. Like, I pay attention. Do you? Like, when I go out in public, I'm taking mental note of how people's body behavior is, their facial expressions. And when I'm directing, I want to bring that, you know, to the screen.
Exactly. I mean, it's real life. I think that's why the reality shows go crazy. People love it because they feel like it's real life, but I guess I'm not going to ruin it for them. Because I've been on some reality shows and, well, whatever. But I realize that everything on TV, everything, in the news, I hate to say that because they're like, wait, that's real. It's all a form of entertainment and ratings. It's all about the Benjamins. It's all about the money. Okay?
Right.
And even the news, remember, like somebody sees one thing on Fox per se and another on MSNBC. It's two different points of view. But of course, it's a form of entertaining the audience, even though they might take maybe some of the truth and then they spin it the way they want it. But then everyone just believes. There's times where I've been on say, oh, you're Brandon's mom, or like for our dear future wife, and they're believing that's who I really am, or a nurse. Oh, I was a nurse for a commercial for a rehab center. And
I don't think you play a doctor well.
So I get a phone call. Hey, when did you start working at that rehab? I'm going, shake my head. I'm like, I didn't work at the rehab. I'm an actress. But wow, if you believe me, that's wonderful.
I think the best compliment I ever received, I was playing a 17-year-old bulimic girl in a play. This was at University of Detroit. And the director of the film department there, well, the play department, not film, his wife came up to me after this play and she said, "You made me cry." And I mean, at that point I was still studying, you know, studying acting and all of that. So when she said that, at first I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And she's like, no, you touched me in a way that it drew emotion. And she's like, it was awesome. So that is like one of the biggest compliments we can get. You know, if somebody tells you that they're moved by your art, you know, whether it's something that you produced or you're starring in, it's just such a great compliment.
It is when they're believing. That just happened. Rahab Productions with Livewire Films just did a short on human trafficking for a school that opened in Fort Lauderdale called Grace Place School. And I played the mom, and it's not, I mean, that was probably a hard role for me because I had to tell a teenage girl she's a worthless little whore. Excuse me, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
Oh, but ask Eve, we swear all the time.
Oh, okay.
I have a truck driver's mouth. I do. I'm sorry, but that's me.
So that at the end of that, people came up like, I hate you. And I mean, and I'm like, oh, and I know why. And they're like, we really hate you.
I saw that's on your demo reel.
Yeah, that's the first scene. And you see throughout, you know, that whole movie, how it's based on like, loosely based on true stories of 3 teenagers and how they get involved into sex trafficking. And it's right here in our backyard. Everyone thinks it's overseas, or, you know, you get taken and then you're taken overseas, but it's happening right here in Broward County, in Miami, in, you know, Orlando. I mean, this is why this school opened, and it's a nonprofit school that really helps teens. It's preventative and restorative. And I like the fact that even though I'm not a therapist there, it's just that my background as a therapist though, and being able to do these films like Amaranza is about love addiction. Yeah. And I realized because we're doing this on our own with our own funding and as a lot of volunteers, it's just really hard because my editor, she's taking her time. I want her to take her time, but it's over a year now. But this is what happens with creating your own art is because it's hard to find the money. I mean, you understand that, trying to find sponsors or something like that. And that's why I'm not people are like, oh, you're a producer, here, read my script. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't like dealing with money, to be honest. That's why I call myself
about that. That happens all the time.
All the time. And I'm like, no, I have to. That's why I don't like putting myself out there as a producer. I'll say I'm a creative producer, which means I like writing stories. I write scripts. I write poetry. I'm an artist. Mm-hmm. But I'm also kind of like a boss lady and I know how to organize. So I think that's why people are like, oh, you're such a great producer. You know how to do paperwork. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not going to go try to find money for anybody's film. It's a hard, that's a line producer, right?
And you're bringing up so many good points. My head's ready to explode. First, let me say this. Human trafficking in the film vertical is very true. Unfortunately, there are young people that get involved in film, and this can be a hook sometimes, so you have to be cautious of that. I'm not going to get into that too much,
right?
But it is a reality, and especially like in Los Angeles, that's a big deal there. So I can imagine it probably is here too, So if you're in the ET and you have been approached by someone who's not legit, run like hell.
But a lot of people, this is why it's important for us, you and I, to tell actors and everything, and that's my passion. That's why I love working with newbies, because there's so many people that believe the Craigslist ad or they're like the so-called agency. And I even posted how to know it's a scam on my public Facebook page where they can read and find out, because if it's too good to be true, it is too good to be true. And they will hook you. Yeah. And girls, I've already worked on a student film where the girl I played the mom, and the director wanted her topless, and she ended up getting, drinking on that set. And then I had to I actually became like a mom. I took care of her. Because my scene was done. They wanted me to leave. I'm like, I am not leaving this girl alone with you guys. No freaking way.
Wow.
Yeah. And this was a student film because this is how desperate, I hate to say hungry. That's the word. Hungry we are. Artists are hungry, and it's not hungry because we can't afford our bills. It's hungry because we love the art, and we just love to see things come together and to create, and we want to be part of something that's going to be beautiful, or so you think, and so you are willing to just compromise yourself. And I know if I started in my 20s, I would have not ended up in a good place. And I'm going to start, because I think about how I was back then. And I was this crazy party girl that, and I think that's why the Lord waited for me all the way till 41. Oops, I just said my age. to get into this industry, because now I've learned a lot. I have more wisdom. I've learned a lot from the streets and being a therapist, And
let's switch gears here, because you are bringing up again lots of good stuff here. This is a business.
Yes.
Filmmaking is a money-making business. It is profitable to an extent.
Yes.
And you have to treat it as such. That means you're branding yourself. If you're talent, you're branding yourself.
Yep.
Come to set professionally. And be ready, that because we do pay attention as producers and directors, we share, especially in the smaller communities, we tell each other, this person, don't work with
ever. Right.
That's not a good person for you. Yes. So once you get a bad reputation in a small community, it can really taint your so you don't want to go there. You brought up funding, because yeah, once you know your name is out there as a producer, I get phone calls from people constantly asking me to look at their scripts, help them out. There is a protocol in the way of getting that done. And one thing I want to mention is if you're looking to have a script picked up, go to pbs.com, because PBS there's a section somewhere on their website where it will give you a breakdown of what they require for new production to pick up.
Wow.
That information is key, because anybody wanting to have their productions picked up,
Right.
it's all spelled out for you there, and almost the majority of film production uses that same business model.
Wow, that's great to know. All right.
It's a very good thing to know. PBS obviously does a lot of nonprofit type of shows.
Right.
I'm not saying, you know, submit your stuff to PBS if you feel like you fit the criteria, great. But if we're just talking about funding and the protocol and how this is ran like a business, you know, we're very busy people. We don't have time, unfortunately, to look at everyone's reels and this and that and the other thing. But if it's something that you're pursuing and you're looking to gain money,
Yeah.
obviously crowdfunding is still another way to go. I've talked to filmmakers that had garage sales and threw cocktail parties to raise money.
Networking. That is what you just brought up. And girl, let me tell you though, there's too many people that don't do that and they just want everything to drop on their lap.
Yeah.
Also, it is about, you know, you, like you just said, you are your own company. That is what I tell newbies. And when they ask me, yeah, I'm my own company. I am Diana S. Rice. And the branding, the networking, the way you treat people, the way you respect.
Yeah.
Some people are jealous.
You're a pro. I never had to worry about
you
coming to set late. You've always conducted yourself as a pro. And I wish there were more people, you know, down in this market that were like you, because there's horror stories, people, lots of them.
Yes. I've seen it.
I do hear this a lot in the Miami market. I didn't hear that so much in California, because I guess maybe the competition is so much more fierce that
they get weeded out easier.
You get weeded out, but it's still a small community, you know.
No, I'm talking about in California, you have so many people there, so many that you get to weed out the flakes. That's what I call, you know.
You're a dime a dozen, and everybody goes to work understanding, like, I'm a dime a dozen, like, I'm easily replaceable. The other thing is the agents are very tight. Even though California is a huge film community, they're still very tight. The people all talk. So when you go to set, if you're unprofessional, one, they're going to tell you to go home. You don't have a job for the rest of the day. And a lot of times it's without pay. But the other thing is, you're not anything. Like, they'll put a blacklist on you, and you don't want that, you know. But it happens, and so I think what it has done is people in California, they tend to understand that and know, like, I better go to work, do my best. Do you put in your all when you go there?
Exactly.
Noticed. And having a good attitude, because when I hire somebody, I'm hiring you because you're somebody that I would like to work with.
Right. Oh no, I have a list now that I'm a casting director, especially for Ask Media. I've worked with so many as an extra, and I still do extra work on purpose. But at the same time, when I'm on set, I'm watching your behavior, and I will approach. And that's the thing is, like, I'll approach and say, hey, you know, are you new? Are you into? Here's my card. They have no idea. Later on, I'm like, hey, can I, you know, book you because I liked your attitude? I don't even have to freaking audition you. I saw what you did.
Right.
You know, and that's why you have to always be careful on how, you know, I just did a set that I was the casting director on. There was a couple of people that came late with their excuses, and then they weren't even prepared. And they've been in the industry for years. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You got to, and that right there tells me, guess what? I don't want to work with you. Not that I'm blacklisting, I'm not a gossiper, so I'm not going to sit there and talk bad about people, you know.
But you never know who you're going to be working with. Like,
yes,
that extra that's sitting next to you while you're in the holding tank could be the next director that wanted to hire you. So that's why it's so very important to always be professional.
Exactly.
Always. And I know there's some of you that are out there that are watching this going, yeah, whatever. Believe me, we've seen it. We've seen too much of it, and that's why we're pointing it out.
Yes.
It doesn't need to be that way.
Oh.
Let's get into the Florida film market.
Yes.
So, a big reason why I'm putting these pieces together, these little video vignettes, is so that people are aware of what's happening in their own geographical market, because film is becoming a regional thing. You no longer have to live in California or New York to be something.
Right.
Florida is rated number 2 in highest in filmmaking, believe that or not, because of Telemundo and also up in Orlando.
Right.
But if you're down in the SoFlo area, we're having a tough time down here. And so one reason that I'm putting together a petition. I want people that are down in this market to advocate for SoFlo filmmaking, to bring the state tax incentives back. I have been in contact with Congress. I'm hammering those doors right now. The Florida film.
Thank you.
Somebody has to do it, and I do believe that Dwayne Johnson had a lot to do with.
Of course. And Ballers. He did Ballers too. I mean, he's the one who's keeping that at least around.
Right. And he lives in Weston, so why the hell would he want to fly out to California? Funny story about him, and then we'll get into the Florida film market. I was working like part-time at LA Fitness, and I was up at the front desk, and this guy checks in, and he looks so familiar to me, and I'm thinking, oh my God, did I date him? And the girl that was working the front desk said to me, you dated Dwayne Johnson, The Rock? And I was like, oh my God, no wonder. But anyway, so let's talk about that. You were on the scene. You worked as a background talent for the new Baywatch, I believe is in post-production right now.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So how was that? What was that like? And then I know you had some backstory on what happened too.
Well, it was 3 nights, in Boca. I was in the upscale scene. It was nice. I mean, it was freezing cold. I think that's the only problem I had was these girls were in bikinis and I was in a tiny little dress, and it was like 50 degrees. And I freeze under 75, so you can imagine. But they were really respectful about it. All the PAs and everything would let us have our jackets on, and the scene, when the scene had so it was a really good set to be on. And it was, the only thing that I found out later on, though, is I guess they had to reshoot some parts of those scenes, and they were asking us background that were in that original scene to travel to Georgia and spend the night, and they were going to pay for travel and the hotel and everything, because they had to redo some parts of the scenes. But I said no, because I had other business, I mean, I do background when I don't have producing or acting my own, that pay bigger than extra work.
I think background is a great thing for even people that have been in the film industry for a while, because you never know who you're going to meet.
Yeah.
It's a great networking experience. Plus, you're around the set. You get to see. I learned something new every time I was